John Frazier, 24, killed a family execution style on a divine mission to stop pollution. He chose this expensive house because it was built on a mountainside. It belonged to Dr. Victor Ohta, famous eye surgeon and humanitarian. Frazier's note said, World War III, anyone destroying the environment will suffer the penalty of death. When arrested, he had shaved the left side of his head, hair, beard, eyebrow.
Nighttime net of security was set up at all entrances leading to Dr. Ohta's mountaintop home after firemen responding to a fire in that home Monday evening discovered the bodies of Dr. Ohta, his wife, Virginia, sons Derek, 12, and Taggart, 11, and his secretary, Dorothy Cadwallader. All were found shot to death, their bodies thrown into the Ohta swimming pool. Dr. Ohta had been practicing ophthalmology in Santa Cruz since 1960, maintaining an office in Santa Cruz and in Gilroy. He specialized in cataract surgery. 5 victims were shot in the back of the head, Dr. Ohta twice, each of the others once. 2 other members of the Ohta family, 2 daughters of Dr. Ohta, escaped the horror which struck here. They are both away at boarding school. Senseless, savage, the worst crime in the county's history. These some of the phrases people here are groping for to try to express their shock and revulsion at the crime. Santa Cruz County Sheriff Doug James, heading the investigation here, told reporters earlier at his office that the victims had also been bound with silk scarves.
They were tied. Scarves and stockings with their arms in front of them. There was no indication that they had been beaten. There was a gunshot wound in 4 of the victims, and there were 2 in Dr. Ohta.
People are trying to relate this to events. I feel like there's any indication that that's the same kind of barbarous actions.
Well, it was certainly, whoever did it was certainly barbarous. I certainly don't want to, we have no indication that it was hippies or straights or whatever. We're just pursuing any possibility that we can. I would say there probably had to be more than one person to do what was done.
Have you found a weapon?
No weapons have been found.
Have you found that there's an underlying reason to the fire, that maybe something was trying to be covered up in the house?
No, that's still under investigation. We don't know it. They could have set it to attract attention. It could be that we have no motive. It could be a robbery. There's no way to tell yet because we have had no next of kin to go in and...
What kind of leads are you checking?
Pardon me?
What kind of leads are you checking?
Anything and everything that we can. Possible hippies that may have lived in the area. Possible business deals he may have had, just about anything that you can think of.
The questions to be answered, of course, at this point are who and why. And at the moment, one of the best leads in hopes of finding that answer is a 1968 green Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser with license plates WZH 511. It belongs to Dr. Ohta, and it's missing. Santa Cruz County Sheriff's deputies are searching the heavily wooded area around Henry Cowell State Park northeast of Santa Cruz for any trace of the up to 3 people various witnesses have placed near the Ohta car. People described as possibly in their early 20s, 2 men and a woman, all with long hair. The car was found in a railroad tunnel in the park Tuesday evening. It had been driven down the tracks, set afire, and was later struck by a Southern Pacific switch engine. Impounded by authorities now, the car shows the obvious damage inflicted by the impact of the train-car collision and inside some fire damage. It may also have shown some clues to investigators before cameras were permitted close to it, but if it did, no one in authority is talking about it now. Santa Cruz County Sheriff Douglas James did release some new information about the case today, that dealing with reports of the car and 3 people being spotted at a campsite sometime Tuesday, after the murders and before the car was abandoned.
There was an area where they did stay overnight, which we did stake out.
How would you describe that? They're positive that they spent the night?
Well, we're not positive, but they were there. They could have been there. We have our Scientific Investigation Bureau people, along with the CII experts, at the location right now.
Where is it? Orange?
No, it's up in the Bonnie Doon area.
How many of them were there?
We're not positive of that. 2 or 3 that we know of. We don't know if they're the same people or not, but there were 2 or 3. Female and male.
Female and
Yes.
What female?
Pardon me? Males and females, I don't know the exact number.
So you're inclined to think now that there were at least 2 or 3 people involved in this killing, because I think it's a whole thing.
Well, we're inclined to believe that there were 2 or 3 people in Ohta's station wagon.
The search continues, as does speculation about the full story behind the savage slaughter of Dr. Victor Ohta, his wife Virginia, sons Taggart and Derrick, and Secretary Dorothy Cadwallader.
We have recovered the missing vehicle, which belonged to the Ohtas in the Bonnie Doon Felton area. The circumstances surrounding that recovery and the possibility that we may have located the place where the occupants of the car spent the night have led us to maintain surveillance search in the vicinity throughout the ensuing hours. We are pressing a concerted search effort with deputies on foot and mounted personnel in that vicinity at this hour. We can state further that the preliminary autopsy reports indicate that weapons of 38 caliber and 22 caliber were used to perpetuate the homicides.
There has been speculation aimed at drawing comparisons between the murders here and the Tate LaBianca killings in Los Angeles. There are now some very vague but nonetheless frightening hints that such could be the case. Sheriff James asked this morning if the killers here have left anything behind that indicated a philosophy, replied, no comment. He was asked further if the killers left any message behind. He replied again, no comment. Pat O'Brien for Eyewitness News in Santa Cruz County.
There was a weird development in the case. A strange note was found at the scene indicating the killings had been done by a group calling itself the Free People of the Universe, who have declared World War III against anybody who misuses the environment.
Today, World War III will begin as brought to you by people of the free universe. From this day forward, anyone and or company of persons who misuses the natural environment or destroys the same will suffer the penalty of death by the people of the free universe. I and my comrades from this day forth will fight until death or freedom against anything or anyone who does not support natural life on this planet. Materialism must die or mankind will. Knights of the Wand, Knights of Cups, Knights of Pentacles, Knights of Swords.
This note was found underneath the windshield wiper of one of the automobiles that was parked across the driveway at Dr. Ohta's residence.
Hold that again, please. What's going
On the roll.
What does this note indicate to you about the kinds of people who committed the murders? What does this note tell you about them?
Well, it indicates to me, as an individual that is perhaps a cult, it is a substantial piece of physical evidence.
Mr. Keller?
Yes,
I assume the note indicates to you that whoever committed the murders went specifically to the Ohta home to kill them and had probably chosen them before. In other words, it's not a case of someone going in to rob the house and something like that.
I don't know.
Do you think that's the case? Does this note make you think that's the case?
I don't know.
I'd like to make a statement at this time that we do have a suspect. He is not in custody. His name is John, middle name Linley, L-I-N-L-E-Y. Last name is Frazier, F-R-A-Z-I-E-R.